Hi, Pep. You've had some time now to reflect on your first season in charge of Manchester City. How's that analysis gone? What might you do different for the new season? But what did you learn from your first experience?
Well, good morning to everybody again. Okay, we didn't compete, especially in the Premier League, until the end of the season. That it was always the main target, to fight until the end. We fought, but we were not able to be close to especially Chelsea and Tottenham as well, but especially Chelsea. So my feeling it was better, but that I felt during the season when I was in summertime. I felt so it was quite good. So in terms of the way we try to play. It was one period when we dropped a lot of points, and that we lost the chance to fight in the Premier League and knockout competitions. In the Cup, we arrived at semi-finals and extra time. What happened and the Champions League, 45 bad minutes, we were out. So in that competition, you can concede few minutes, but not 45. When you are 45, you are out. But okay. So I think it was a good experience, and hopefully that season we can be better.
Question for Pep. Right now, any updates on the Kelechi and Wilfried Bony transfer situation, and specifically regarding Kelechi, is that more a situation where the player requested a transfer, or you actually let him know that he might be surplus or he might not be in your plans going forward?
No, Kelechi's he's a young player. Like a manager, is an honor to work with him, because he's a guy who's not easy for him, because I didn't give him a lot of chances. And his behaviors I never saw a guy like him. But he's closing to make a deal, a transfer, and he decided to stay in Manchester. Maybe next week, on the next 10 days, he's going to finish. We have an option to have the opportunity in a few years to bring him back. But he's a young player, and we believe he deserves to play. He needs to play in that age, and that's why him with the club and everybody will decide the best for him. Bonnie is injured, a little bit injured, will be here, but he had a little problem. It's nothing important, and it's serious, but it's recovering in Manchester.
Vincent, this is one of the most anticipated games during the season, the Manchester Derby. What does it mean, and what's the atmosphere around the club for even though it's a preseason game, but here in the U.S.?
Yeah. So obviously we play against Manchester United, and it's a difficult context because it's a friendly game, but at the same time, it's a game that I never really played as a friendly. So we'll see. The main thing for us is to be able to export a little bit of the feeling that you can have when you play in a derby. And hopefully it will be competitive enough as well, and at the same time we'll get what we need out of this game, because it's still a pre-season game. But the fans are right to anticipate on this game.
Vincent, the last 18 months, I suppose, have been very frustrating for you in terms of fitness and getting regular games. Do you feel, with a full pre-season behind you, you can actually play a full part and do what the manager was hoping you would do when he came in?
Well, the main reason why I'm still here is because I never doubt myself, not for 1 second, not for any time, and every single time I start again, I have the feeling that I will never be injured again in my life. So I remain positive, I remain motivated, and the lucky thing I have is when you play at this level and you play with these kind of players, you only need to look at yourself in training to know whether you still have the level or not, because ultimately that's the level you're going to compete against. And as much as the past is the past, I feel that I've worked a lot on myself. I feel that a lot of people around me understand me better than it's ever been the case, and because of this environment, I think that I'm able to look forward to a positive season and hopefully improve the team as well.
Pep, can you tell us a bit about the 3 players that you've signed already this summer, and is there a possibility that you might sign Danilo from Real Madrid?
But we have many, not a few options for people. Players is coming, but until the deal is not done, so for respect for the other clubs, I cannot say absolutely anything. But it's one option that we have. Okay, respect Ederson. His impact was good in the first 2 weeks, so I think it's going to help us. He's a young player. For many years will be a good goalkeeper for Manchester City. And Bernardo Silva, so was one of the best players in the League One in France. So he's a huge talent, can play in 2 or 3 positions. He's a technical, skillful, and he's a really good guy. And I think Kyle, so you know him better, the same like me. So he's a fullback for the national team from England. He's a experience, quality. So the club didn't invest because they had really good players in fullbacks with Gael, with Baca, with Pablo, with Cola. So the next 5, 6, 7 years we didn't invest absolutely anything in that position. And of course they played, especially Gael played a lot of minutes last season. They played really good last season, so I don't have any complaints about that. But we believe you have to start a little bit last season, and that season too. It was a team like we was 30, 31, 32 years old, a lot of players, so you have to try to buy and refresh the team in terms of new players, young players, not just for that season, for the coming 4 or 5 next years. And Kyle is going to help us in that terms.
Hi, Pep. Arsene Wenger said this week that there's no way they're going to sell Alexis Sanchez. For you, is that the end of Manchester City's pursuit of Sanchez, and will you be looking at other strikers?
Arsene is a player from Arsenal, so Alexis is a player from Arsenal. So Arsene said that is because he knows more than me. Unfortunately, the market finished 31st. I think it's a huge mistake for the UEFA in that terms. We'd finish when we start the season at 12 finish the market because it's too long, too large. So when we are playing here with guys, maybe we're not continuing with playing. It's coming, we are not here. So now we are playing in a situation we don't know exactly what's going to finish for the rest of the season. So we miss time, not all the managers. So hopefully in the future the UEFA can think about that and put the transfer market the last day, the deadline, the last day we start the competition. And for the players, I said to your colleagues, so for the players that are in the other teams, I cannot say too much. So it's the other teams. I don't like when the other teams managers play about our players, so it's the same.
Is another striker important to you, though, getting in, even if not Sanchez, just getting in another striker?
No, we have 2 really good strikers with Sergio and Gabriel. So in that terms, in that position, we are good. So it's not about the striker. So the problem, the regret we have last season is because Gabriel was out for a long time, and would have liked to see both Sergio and Gabriel more games together, because the lack of goal last season, when we create a lot of chances, we have a lack of goal. It was a little bit problem last season. I think, of course, not just for Gabriel or Sergio, they are the responsibility to score goals, also the wingers. But Sané made a good 6 months, the last second part of the league. He was outstanding, so he made a huge step forward in terms of his notice. He came to the Premier League, and in the beginning was a little bit shy, but after show his quality. And Reich also played good, so we need the guys who play in the side, have the ability to score goals, plus our attacking midfielders, and the set pieces from Vincent.
Hi guys, thanks for your time. I've got a question for the captain, but first, for the manager. Is it going too far then to say what's been reported, that you've won the race for Danilo and a fee has been agreed with Real Madrid?
But I said he's a player from Real Madrid, so we are talking with not too much players, but with 3-4 players to try, is it possible to come to join us. for the not only the next season, for the next 3, 4, or 5 years, because all of them, they are so young players. So we need that, refresh and spirit the new players. It's good for them, for all players like Vincent, especially guys like the other legends like Vincent and the other ones here in that club. Is going to help us to rebuild a little bit more that club, and we'll see.
Vincent, about new defenders and Carl Walker, you will have obviously played against him and seen a lot of him, but when you've now seen him on the training ground, what kind of signing do you think he'll be for Manchester City?
I mean, the first thing you note about Kyle is his attitude towards training, his attitude towards working and improving. And I'd like to think that being with us, he'll improve again. And I'd like to think that he'll reach the next level. His ability is obviously to go forward with pace and have an impact, but at the same time I feel that defensively he's capable as well of helping us, and that's an important combination in a fullback. So I believe it's the right place for him.
For Vincent, in the United States there aren't a whole lot of rivalries where there are teams in the same city, yet you guys are in the same city as United. Can you describe what that adds to the rivalry and maybe characterize the rivalry a little bit for the people over here who don't know it as well?
I mean, my situation is pretty simple. My wife is from Manchester. She's a Blue. Her family is divided between blue and red, and when we go together at Christmas for dinner, it's it can be an issue sometimes. So that's what it means, and that's everything about a derby, really.
Question for Pep, please. Sorry. I'm with Sirius XM, American station, radio station. For our audience, Pep, could you, a couple of weeks ago, you said that Manchester City were 10 years behind the top teams in the world. Could you explain that?
I didn't say that.
Fair enough. Next question.
I didn't say that. My English is not quite good. That's why I didn't say they are 10 years back. So I said, so to achieve what that club wants, so from the Abu Dhabi took charge that club is to achieve the level from the top clubs in Europe in the last 20, 25, 30 years. And always when we talk about that, we speak about Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, and this kind of. And for achieve that level to be during a long period, in the next 10, 15 years, always there was you need time. You need time. And it was a perspective. We're going to try to reduce, of course, that gap, because before that teams were there and Manchester City was there in terms in Europe, in the vision, the Europe, how we see us. But the last 5, 6 years with the effort for those exceptional players that Manchester City had and have, and the investment for the work ethic for all the club, for the Abu Dhabi people, so we reduce that gap and we arrive here. But to achieve that gap between the top players and that we need a little bit more time. But maybe it's not 10 years, maybe it's 4, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 3, maybe, I don't know. It depends on us and our work, the work with the players, the club and everybody to go in that. But we have a lack of time to be every single season in Europe playing in semi-finals or finals or quarterfinals, the Champions League. We were not there in the last 50, 20 years. So that is my reflection about that. That not means we are going to try this season like we tried the last season, that they tried with Manuel 2 seasons ago to arrive there. But it's not arrive once or twice. It's being there. The people knowing every single season that club will be there. And for that, of course, we need time. Exactly, I'm not a guy who did how much. No, we're going to how long we're going to take to achieve that. But that is fascinating to give the opportunity to try it. No? It's in our hands, and that is what we want to do. That is what we want to do.
Pep, it's been reported in Italy that the club have had a bid for Pepe Reina rejected by Napoli. What does that mean for Claudio Bravo, and does he have a future at Manchester City under you?
Claudio Bravo will be a goalkeeper for Manchester City since the last season. Will be player for Manchester City, Claudio Bravo.
Next season he will?
Yeah, sure, definitely, 100%.
So are you actively pursuing a third goalkeeper then?
No. No.
Can I just ask
We
myself?
have Daniel, we have Aro, a guy who is 17, 18 years old with a huge perspective. And we go with Ederson, with Claudio, and the young players we have.
Can I just ask on Sergio as well? There have been suggestions and rumours that Chelsea may be moving in for him. Is there any way that Sergio could leave at all this summer? Or is he going to be playing next season at Manchester City?
You know my opinion about Sergio.
No, but obviously we have to ask you.
You know my opinion about Sergio. I said many times last season, it didn't change absolutely any word about what I said. He's our player, and he'll remain here.
Thank you.
Ideally, how many new players would you like before the season starts, new signings?
11, that will be my dream.
Are you looking at
11 players, no complaints. Everybody
so
plays.
11 new signings?
Everybody plays. Everybody happy.
He said new signings, boss.
New signings?
Yeah.
Now we're going. The squad is 11 players. The signings. No, we have 11 now. No.
New signing?
No, we have 11 players in the squad.
Yeah, more
it's
than
enough.
how many new signings would you expect?
No, I don't know. Not too much. I don't know. It depends also. The players going to stay at the end. Now we're working with guys. It was alone last season. He's come back here for the preseason with his under contract. Maybe some, or I don't know, stay, maybe leave. So now I don't know. It's a balance. If one guy is leaving, maybe one guy, a new one is coming. So I don't know. I don't know exactly.
Pep, you do actually have quite a big squad full of top-class players now. How difficult is it for you to keep those guys motivated throughout the season?
The guys were here.
Oh no, the whole squad.
At the end, they are so professional. So they work especially for themselves first of all, and the guys are going to stay here. They play the training for make a good season. The guys are here. They know they are not going to stay here. They work for themselves. For the club is going to be. So it's not a problem. So I never. The captain knows that. So last season and even and that season too. So far, so they train excellent. So they have a good commitment with the club. So there's no complaints like a manager, and they know they don't do that. I will be there. So in that terms, it's a pleasure to work with them.
Hi Pep. You said earlier this summer at the golf event that you were happy with the way the transfer plans were progressing and everything was in place. A few weeks later on, maybe a few deals haven't happened as quickly as you might have hoped. Are you still happy with how the whole plan is working?
Yeah, because I see how they work. So it's not easy. So today the market is what it is, and all the clubs have a lot of players they want to sell, they want to loan, and it's difficult. And so until 31st of August we have a chance. So they are working tough to make the best squad for Manchester City for the next years. Don't forget that it's not just about the next season. So it's for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons, and so sooner or later that is going to happen.
Is Benjamin Mendy one of those 3 or 4 players that City have talked?
It's like the case of Danilo and the other one. So we have the targets with Danilo, with the other ones, and we're going to see what happens. But now he's a budding player, Monaco player, so that's why I have to try to be quiet in my comments.
Vincent, tomorrow you're going to come up against Romelu Lukaku, someone you know well. What's he going to bring to Manchester United, and do you think City and United are going to be the favourites for the Premier League this season?
It's hard to say who's going to be favourites. It's, in my opinion, more teams than ever that that not just can but have to claim that they want to be Premier League champions. And the distinction is important. They have to, because everybody's investing heavily at the moment. Romelu, when it comes to him, he's got one incredible ability, and it's his desire to score goals. A lot of people have commented on Romelu over the years, and he's taken a lot of criticism, but his biggest strength is the belief in himself and the ability to always just score goals and have this drive constantly. So I think that's what Manchester United bought, and that's what they're going to get from him. Therefore, again, they've added a good player to the squad, and it's going to increase the competition in the Premier League for the title.
Just the last question in English, please, guys.
Vincent, there's been a suggestion in the past that sometimes, fitness-wise, you could almost be your own worst enemy because you play at 100% all the time, even if maybe you've got a knock or whatever. Have you had to change the way you think, your mentality, now you're reaching this stage of your career? 'Cause at the end of the season, it looked like you returned to pretty much your best.
I mean, I'd like to think at any single point that I can still improve. And even when I don't play, just by watching the guys train or just by listening to what the manager says, I feel like I have improved, and I was just really eager to put it to practice. But the main thing is you can't let fear come into it. So I train, I play, and if sometimes I'm maybe managed by the people around me, as soon as I'm on the pitch, it's I'd prefer to have something really bad happen to me on the pitch than to change even for 1% who I am and what I do. The day that this happens, I will say, I will shake hands with everyone and say thank you for this tremendous experience, and that's it. But I remain the same, and that's it.
You pulled out on a couple of occasions last season, didn't you? I think it was the Belgian game where in the warm-up you decided, you said no, I can't play. That seemed like something new, something that hadn't happened in the past.
Yeah, the only difference is if I would have played within 5 minutes, I would have had the same thing as what happened in other games. I would have had to come off with an injury that would have been maybe keeping me out for a month or 2 months. I think the difference is people have to trust my judgment on this now. I've had too many injuries. I'm not a doctor, but without having the diplomas, I probably come as close as you can get to it. And yeah, unfortunately, but if you know me a little bit, and from the moment that I raise my hand, there's something, it's not in my head.
Just finish with a couple of questions in Spanish, please, guys.